Yes, good evening, everybody. This is the September 1st meeting of the Capital Improvement Committee. We're very honored tonight to have our town treasurer with us, Michelle Romney. And Michelle, I may have spelt your name wrong on our, two O's or one O?
No O's at all.
No O's at all. Then, Michelle, I really spelled your name wrong on our agenda, so we're not going to worry about it.
No.
Do tell me Michelle has two L's in it, though.
It does.
Oh, good. Glad to hear that. Glad to hear that. Let me take a pen out. One of the things, Tom McGurty is ill, our other member. He won't be here. And as you say, the selectmen are involved with something, so evidently Kim won't be here. Okay. Very good. I had sent Michelle, through Jennifer, an email saying that we really needed her help on some of this. And one of the things that mostly was, if you have, well, you did send me some information, but if you have a preferred way of what you expect us to do and how you expect us to report our findings.
There isn't a specific way that I would like to see it. There are standards put out by the state of Maine.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you've gotten that document, how to create a capital.
I have that document, yeah.
I think, ideally what we want to get to is how much money we're going to need year by year based on the needs of the town, and are we gonna start putting that money aside on our town warrant every year, or are we going out for bond for big projects? We need to think ahead of on these things so that we're not, raising the taxes by 20 cents in a year just because, oops, we didn't plan for this.
Right. One of the things I think we all agree on is some of the things that do need to be done now are done because maintenance wasn't kept up.
Right.
And that's not a blame or anything.
Right.
It's when you, in any business, and running the town as a business, some things are going to slip away. And when you basically have 3 part-time people and 1 full-time person being the town administrator, it's going to happen.
Right.
So at least for the chair, I feel having this document in place gives them a tool. We're not telling them what to do. We're giving them a tool to help them do what needs to be done.
Exactly.
Good, good.
And I don't think, like the fire department will every couple of years give us their need and wish list.
Oh, yes.
But that hasn't been town-wide, so all departments haven't been doing that, so no board of selectmen any given year knows what the needs are in all the departments, and that, the capital plan they'll be able to have it every year, and we'll be able to update it every year. And they can look at it and see what is priority, what's up next, and when we did something last.
We have
those historical records.
Right.
I mean, it takes digging to find out, when things were done last.
we have this from you. This is from the Office of the Fire Chief, which is a 3-page document.
Right, and I think that was 2 years ago, so some things on that list have been accomplished already.
Right, and we also have how big was that other list we got? Page after page
Quite a few
after page
pages.
Well,
list.
I got the fire chief was very cooperative, and he gave me a complete inventory
Yes.
of everything that the fire department has.
Yes.
From equipment to vehicles.
It's 15 pages.
What is
so-
it?
15 pages.
15 pages. Now, Wayne has taken that, and he is our a guru guy for, going through, taking things. And this is what it's come down to. All right? And you see 6 items on here, 5 items on here. And these are all very high-priced items. The lowest one is structural gear, which is $15,000. And we know that's above the $5,000
Right.
we have in reserve. So this gives, to me, we have a better picture of what we need, but it still comes up, I'll make sure you have copies of this, by the way. It still comes up to, what are we thinking of for a money amount? And what do you see us doing for that?
As far as, like a minimum to start calling it part of the capital plan?
Right,
I know, I think I mentioned in my email, when we add value to an asset, through the accounting process, it's anything over $5,000. So anything over $5,000, we book to our assets.
yeah,
If we put a new deck, on the back of the building or whatever,
Right.
we would, and it was $5,000, we would increase the building asset value by $5,000 for that year. There's no set limit, by guideline or recommendation on what, constitutes as a capital improvement, other than it adds value to the property that you're.
Right,
And
well-
it lasts, it's not.
yeah, well, that's kind of the basic line, I believe. It adds value, and it lasts, or it improves. It's not general maintenance.
Right.
I mean, it might cost a lot of money to paint a building this size, but that's maintenance.
Right, oh, absolutely. I don't think you wouldn't include painting in a capital improvement unless it was part of a building, like a whole building, like you were replacing all the siding of the building.
Right,
Or
right.
you were building a new building and painting it, and then you would.
Then it's part of the whole
Right.
structure and everything. All right. Are there anything that you all are thinking that Michelle can, I know Tom did have a couple questions that, and he's just, as he said, no, it's not COVID, but I'm down for the count. So he's just not feeling well at all.
And I would encourage him to, pop an email through the committee.
Yeah.
And even copy me on it, and I'd be
Oh,
happy to.
yeah, we'd be glad to.
Where you're only meeting once a month, that way it gives you an answer before the next month, so you can think
Right.
about something for the next meeting.
Yeah, exactly. Now, under the building needs that we got from Town Hall, which is a slightly different list than we had early on from our first list on building needs. Since this is first year going in, okay, siding on the rear of the building to complete the project. There's no money per se set aside for that.
No, so we did budget money this year for exterior. I do believe that most of the money will hit the windows before we'll have any money for siding left over.
Yeah, because I was looking at the last warrant, and it doesn't look like it would be enough to do everything. So, but if we looked at this and we said, all right, we need to do the siding on the back of the building, we need to upgrade the lights, we need to take care of this back porch.
Yes.
I'm deliberately leaving the windows out. The kitchen needs to be redone.
The main thing in the kitchen is that the kitchen does not drain into the septic.
Right. Oh, yes.
Drains into the ground. So in the wintertime, pre-COVID, when we had this building open for, other people to use, they'd be washing dishes on a cold day and it would back up because the line's frozen.
Right, exactly.
And then, because it's backing up, it's flooding the floor, so the subflooring is very soft in there.
Right, right. And, so when I say redo the kitchen,
That's a renovation.
it is a renovation. I mean, it's the plumbing, it's the floor.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's gotta be some, and we're gonna see it very soon. Because in another month, we have these little critters that like to come inside.
Yeah.
Everybody's home, not just here, but, you know, I think we've all seen little field mice.
Right now, they're living in the generator,
Oh, they are?
where they were.
That's nice.
Evicted.
That's nice. And, the hot water in the bathroom, I mean, you really can't stand there a half hour. And then the electrical upgrades. So if that comes out to 4, 5, 6 issues having to do with this building. Now, would we say, okay, we've got 6 issues here, and the siding on the back of the building, these are just speaking numbers, not real numbers. Okay, so let's say that's gonna be $35,000. Okay. They're just talking numbers, okay? Lighting ballasts to upgrade LEDs. I don't know how many you're talking about, I don't know any of that, but I do know they're expensive. So I'm gonna throw in like $500 on that, just 500, not anything more than that. Now the back porch and this, that. And my standing joke is, I'm gonna let Roland go down the stairs before I do.
No.
Because if it holds him, I know it'll hold me.
Nope, I'm going out that door. We're not using that door,
Oh, okay.
okay?
But, I have no idea what it would cost to do that. I mean, anybody get an idea what it would cost to put in a new, just throw a number at me.
What's the size of it? I haven't seen it.
It's not really big. I would say,
Like 5 by 10?
No, it's not, it's
No.
not.
Not even, it's like
no, maybe
staircase.
5 by 5
Okay.
Yeah,
platform, yeah.
I'm sure you could easily spend $5,000 on that for pressure treated lumber and
Yeah,
Right.
with the price of lumber right now, had we done it 2 years
redoing
ago. feel like-
some too.
that would have been. Now, when we get to the drainage, the sink, integrating the new plumbing and the subfloor, and I'm gonna throw the bathroom into this, because it's all plumbing. We're looking at $25,000, without putting any lipstick. We're
Right.
just on the very basic things, so. And then the electrical upgrades to the building. Good Lord.
Yeah, and at this point, we don't know what all the upgrades are needed, but we know that every time we run into a problem, we're spending $1,000
Yeah.
for an electrician to come in to fix wiring that was done by somebody who was not licensed to begin with when it was put in.
So just with these play numbers, our Monopoly numbers, we are up over $60,000. So to do this whole place like we would want it to do, and that doesn't include the electric, we're probably talking $100,000 to do that.
I think that's fair. to
And would we
assume.
need to put just under town hall repairs and upgrades, and calling some of them upgrades, because they are upgrades for the
Right.
time being,
Right.
100,000, and then we could have sub
Yeah.
numbers under them, you know, this, and this.
Right.
So that would give us a capital improvement line of $100,000. You know, that could be, might be the way it goes. Well, then we have the, we never touch why the water isn't drinkable in there.
We had
We do kind of know why, I think.
a new well put in 4 years ago.
When was the new well put in, Roland?
Longer than 4 years ago,
Was it longer than that?
probably
I think
6
so.
years ago.
Yeah, at least.
This flies by when you're having
I'm
fun
just,
here.
oh, yeah.
In hopes to correct the issue, because our fear was that it was coming from issues with the well itself, the age and its position or whatever. So I believe that when the new well was put in, and this is what a lot of people have guessed, is that it's hitting the same vein that the
Oh.
old well was hitting.
Well,
So you're
it's
not
also
getting
collecting
any-
everything that runs down the parking lot.
Yeah, and they're both, I mean, the old one was right up against the building.
Right, and the other ones,
And the other one's directly straight across.
Right.
15 feet.
what did we pay for that?
I want to say 15 to 20, maybe?
Okay.
I'd have to look.
No,
Yeah.
but you don't have to.
Right.
So we haven't talked about, so our 100,000 just went to 125,000.
Right.
Because maybe it does need a new well, which I hate to think of it, but,
We had talked about, had discussion about purification system. I mean, but then every year you're spending maintenance there.
yeah.
I'm not sure which way is the best way to go, a new well or get a purification system. Not knowing the prices of those.
Yeah, because you're always going to have the same negative impact on the well year after year, whether it's the same vein or the runoff from up here, which
Right.
is something it's the salt, it's the this, it's the that, something I've always heard. So, so we're up on the building at 25,000. And just to make this up to standard where it should be. We haven't talked about, and I don't think we need to, any painting this room.
Yeah, no, and that should come out of
And
building maintenance.
that wouldn't
Yeah.
come out of this anyway, but, we're looking at, at monopoly dollars of 125,000. Now, the only thing left in this compound is the parking.
Which we started,
Right,
with some money this year.
right.
Where that will get us, I'm not sure, but
And we know where the lines are.
yes.
Great. And do we know what we're gonna do with the old fire barn?
No. For, a majority of the people who have been in discussion about it, it was a no-brainer to knock it down.
Right,
Historically, there has been some feedback on that, people objecting to it being taken down.
Does it
for
have-
Nostalgia, but
nostalgia's one
Nostalgia
thing,
is-
but does it have historic value?
no, it doesn't.
There's no historic,
Value to it.
if anybody's claiming, historic value to that
The only thing
cinder block
worth, the only
building.
thing worth hitting money on that building is the new shingles that were put on 5 years ago.
Beyond that, I understand that, people really didn't want to see the gym closed.
Right,
There's a fair amount of people who would prefer if the gym were still in operation.
Yes.
However, number one, the town shouldn't be in the gym business.
Right.
Okay? Number two, the insurance company was not real happy with the building.
Yes,
And, it was not, the gym was not a self-sufficient
right.
Entity.
And now its only purpose is getting in the way of leveling the parking lot and storing some recreation items.
There's nothing of rec stored in there, as far as I'm aware of. Everything supposedly was taken out. I know that all of the gym equipment, the fire department,
Yeah, that's all gone.
they
That's
took
all
all
gone.
that, that's all set up in the old, rescue building, the old ambulance building.
And no, that's 2 floors, the old ambulance building and all that. And they have some equipment in there, I know that. But is there in fact some sort of room for if the rec needs to put?
I don't believe so, because they do training and stuff over
Oh, do
there,
they?
so,
Well, that's very good to know.
yeah. So, I mean, so they're utilizing it within the department, other
Yeah,
than,
okay.
Not to mention the fact that the deputy utilizes the facility over there as well.
Well, we'll have to talk about that later.
I don't want to talk about it,
Okay,
just, in passing.
all right. But that block building, I mean, there used to be a joke, that one person could tie a rope on one side and one could tie one on the other side. And the third person would just kind of do this in the middle. It would be gone. And somebody and I used to joke about it, it would be gone. And, we said, gee, then we could have more parking. Taking into consideration where are the leach fields and where is the septic system?
right,
What will we gain?
right. And we know where the septic tank is.
Okay.
It's partially underneath the driveway that goes down back, because we had to dig it up the last time we had it pumped.
You have to dig it up.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
You had to uncover the top or dig it up?
We had to dig up some pavement the last time that it was pumped.
Is that the tank for the old firehouse? Or
So the
for,
tank,
or for the town
I
hall?
believe it all ties into one.
Okay. I thought when they put the leach field out beyond with the firehouse.
Yeah, the leach field should be out here.
But it's grown up with pine trees. It shouldn't be like that. It should be open.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I
Yeah.
haven't looked at,
Something to look into.
They may have a record of,
oh, there's a folder this big of all the
Yeah.
town hall
they
stuff.
must have a record of where that leach field is, and then probably in reference back to where the tank is.
Yeah, because that was what the new building was put in 87.
All right, so if they tore down the old firehouse, they'd have to probably do something with the old septic tank? Or would that be,
Right, if it doesn't tie into the holding tank already.
yeah, okay.
The same one as this one.
Yeah. One of the things, FYI, because we just did it at home, you can get a cover, steel cover, not inexpensive, but less than $1,000, that you can put in, and you can hot tub around it, and when they need to pump your tank, they just go lift up the cover and pump your tank. So you don't have to
Yep.
dig up your driveways and stuff like that. Those things are available today. And I thank John for telling us that when it happened. But, so, I mean, just using this building as a big thing with all the question marks. I mean, is it fair to say that that building should be gone? And what would that cost be?
I know that Will has talked about, being able to, take it down. As far as the building itself goes, most of the building is cinder block.
Right.
Okay? The only thing that's not cinder block is what is above wall height.
Yeah.
You have some wood there, that's not a major issue. You get a dumpster and take the roof off, and, as far as the concrete blocks and whatnot, Will has said something to the effect of, all that could be taken down to, the sand salt shed, put out back and repurposed, not necessarily block by block, but you grind it up and, you have things, you have material that you can repurpose.
Okay,
So,
to me, that puts it in 2 categories.
So you have a disposal fees.
You have disposal fees, exactly. But say someone like Will were to do it. We have a selectman who is in the business who could do it. we have to be very careful we're not getting into, what's the phrase I'm looking for?
Conflict of interest.
Conflict of interest, thank you.
Number one, I would say that the selectmen that you are speaking of should not be, involved in that process.
No, the selectmen certainly wouldn't. We do have a policy that, like, any work that needs to be done within the scope of driveways or anything like that on any of the town properties, is handled by the road commissioners. Demolition, I mean, would that fall into it?
That's what I'm asking you.
Yeah, I mean.
Would that fall
I
into?
think it falls within the scope of the equipment that's used,
Yeah,
yeah. It's not beyond something that they don't normally do.
The only problem that I see is, they have to make a decision. They, meaning the selectmen, have to make a decision
Right.
what they want to do as far as that building is concerned. Take it down, all right, fine. Make a decision, take it down. It took us over 1.5 years to close the gym.
Right,
Okay?
Yeah.
So, I mean, we can't, the town can't afford to be twiddling its thumbs
Yes.
before it, while it's making up its mind.
yeah, I mean,
Okay? There are,
this driveway is a liability. It's a potential big payout to the town of
it
Acton.
could very well
you want to
be.
talk to someone whose car's been hit twice now here?
And,
Well-
yeah, I mean.
Trust me, I do not park in
Vehicles
that
getting
parking
hit and
place.
people falling and tripping, that little lump right on the other side.
Yeah.
That's where all the employees park. There's workers' comp. I love to fill out those forms for people.
Sure we do.
But anyway, getting back to, two things have now come up. And what you said, Rollins, to me falls under, yes, we obviously need decision made, but we're talking about 3 part-timers and 1 full-timer. And this is how we got in this situation. There's so many overwhelming things
Yes.
happening that something gets lost along the way. And we have to be part of making that stop, being part of the solution by getting as much information as we can.
Right.
Together. Because otherwise, everybody's twisting their thumbs and that's it. But what I was getting to was, if that were a job, say the road commissioner could do, I don't care who, because I really don't care when there's a town job that needs to be done.
Right.
We have 2 road commissioners, maybe they
Right.
work together,
Right.
That's not my thing. But does that become a capital improvement for them, or does that become just an increase in their budget? How would that work?
As far as the road commissioners doing it?
Yeah,
So when, the parking lot would be separate from the roads,
okay,
because it's not a road.
yeah,
They've done work down at the recreation parking lot, and that was paid from the recreation
right,
funds. So I think it would be a capital improvement for the town hall.
okay. Okay. Boy, we're really spending money pretty easy here and quickly.
It's always easy to spend it on paper.
Oh, yeah, And I don't think it works to say, oh, well, there's a big sale going on. But knocking down a building, even though it's a little building, I mean, you're still gonna be talking. You have to have CMP take the wires down, I would imagine.
Plumbing and gas and all that.
Plumbing and
needs to be
gas.
disconnected.
So you're still talking for a simple thing.
There's no gas in
Well,
that building.
Well, oil, rather.
Yeah, oil, there's something for heat in there.
You know,
But you're still gonna be talking
you remove-
10 grand or something.
Well, why don't we get a bid to do it?
It probably,
Let's not put the cart before the horse yet,
Well-
but that's a great idea.
Well, what card have you putting? I mean, it's a reality. You could get bids from, there's people in the demolition business, 3 or 4 people. And they'll come up and say, okay, well, so much for the oil, so much for this, so much for
Right.
that. It's, then you've got something to go with. Now, I don't know whether you have to deal with the selectmen or or the town will,
Well, I think it's really a moot point until they decide that they're taking it down.
Yeah. Yeah.
well, what if,
Well, so let's just say it's gonna cost 10 grand to take it down.
Add another 10 to the total.
That's what I'm doing. That's exactly what I'm doing. Okay? So that just takes care of this building. But you see where we're going with it and how it's going along.
Oh, it can,
So- so-
it can, capital improvement can, snowball into a very large thing.
Yeah.
Okay, depending upon what you're talking about doing and how you want to go about doing it.
Well, if I took the town hall to sort of dissect deliberately,
That's fine.
because I think there are things here, we're not gonna look at 3, 5, and 10 years. We're gonna look at, okay, we've got some money right now this year. And it's gonna go to windows. I think we have to be ready.
I would like to have that explained to me. Are we talking about these windows here?
These
Are
are
we
new
talking about
windows.
those windows over in
We're
that
talking
building
about
over
those
there?
windows.
Those windows, these are new windows, newer windows.
Yes.
And which is kind of off track a little bit. But we have to be ready for next year and the year after, because I don't think we want to go any more than 2 years on getting this building back in shape. I know, it's not the way things always happen.
I'm going to give you just a ink. 3 years ago, there was a warrant article that was voted upon to finish this siding on this building.
And we couldn't get anybody to do it for under
And there was-
$50,000.
I'm sorry,
We couldn't get anybody to do it
For under
for under
50,
$50,000.
how much?
I think it was 50 that was budgeted that year, 40 or 50. And the bid that we got didn't include the whole back side. Didn't include the back side of this building. It just included the back side of the other building, and nobody else wanted to put a bid in.
what's the difference between getting a bid or getting a quote?
So a quote you do anytime before money is budgeted usually. You know, you get somebody to come in and give me a quote.
Right,
But a bid is a price that they're gonna stick to.
okay. So, I mean, and again, we're speaking hypothetically, as Joe said, we could ask for a quote. And, or a dozen quotes from a
Right.
dozen different people on what he was saying.
Right.
Or the back of the building, and that's all they are. And usually, I know, we want some work done at home, and, you know, one guy was saying, well, this quote is only good for 7 days, and I said, goodbye. You know, and others say, well, these quotes are good for 30 days, you know, with the price of lumber and everything going on right now. So I said, fine, that's good. But we would at least then, as Joe has said, we'd have something,
A starting place.
a starting place.
Yeah.
Tangible.
More, yeah, dependable
And
to
we
go
have,
from.
I know that we have requested quotes for siding. And 3 or 4 different builders have said that they were gonna come out and give quotes, but everybody's so busy and nobody showed up.
Oh, I know. Or they'll come out and give you a 90-day quote because what one guy
I
told
don't-
me.
On the siding, I don't believe we've gotten a single person to show up. We've gotten quotes on the windows, several quotes for the windows.
Yeah,
but- Yeah.
No, because one guy told me, well, this quote will be good for 90 days. Well, I'm gonna make it 120 because I don't think I could get to you before that. So I know there's a real issue going on. I understand that, but we need a place to start.
Right.
Now, as I said, Wayne does great things with spreadsheets and all the information he gets. And like the 15 pages, literally down to this, which is wonderful. Communication equipment, future asset replacement, $280,000.
We're still waiting on replacement of something that we approved a year ago.
Oh, yeah, well, it's not here
truck.
yet, the truck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that as far as the town is concerned, financially, we're not sending any more money.
No, we're not, they don't get any more money until we get it in our hands.
That was the last word that I had gotten.
Oh, yeah.
Was that, in my discussion with, the fire chief, he said that, you and he had both been, conversing with this
On a monthly basis.
company.
Yeah.
Yes, on a monthly basis, and, well, they're having a problem finding a chassis.
The problem with the chassis, and then it was the computer chips, 4 computer chips,
So
Chips-
you're learning more
chips
about
are-
fire trucks than you ever thought you wanted to know.
more than I ever wanted to know.
Unfortunately, everybody is going to be in the same boat as far as, if it's got a computer chip in it,
Yeah.
number one, be prepared for a long wait.
Yes.
Because China's not dealing with us too well right now. And, you know, if you don't think that's the case, try to go buy a new Toyota. Oh, well, dealerships don't have cars. You know, they've got a lot of vehicles on their lots, but they're not the latest, greatest, brand new stuff. And if something's got a computer chip, an appliance. I just bought a new washer and dryer. Thankfully, Central had. But I would hate like hell, to have to, oh, well, yeah, I can get you one, but it'll be about a month and a half, maybe. Everything is, everything has just slowed down, and there's a lot of, unfortunately, there's a lot of things that are impacting on things. China, political.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah,
So-
okay. When we can take on that, let's start with world hunger and nuclear disarmament, and then we'll handle the small
Hey,
stuff.
I wanna know where
okay?
all the damn nuclear weapons are, that's fine.
There you go. But we can take care of the other stuff afterwards, okay? We'll take care of those things. But one of the things that, again, like I said in the very beginning, is, and I think I'm getting a clear idea that we can work together and put something together just for this building. We should be able to put something together just for the rec department. We should be able to put together something for the transfer station, doing it that way. And, because I know Joe has got some great ideas for what we have to do to get what we need now. And if it's okay, if we could get quotes, that would be, and as soon as Kim is able to join us, that's something I'll give to her.
Right.
Too,
Yep.
Kim, see, we're not asking for anything but a quote. I mean, I know, and I think we all know some people we could just, because of personal relationships, we could say, just if you were to do this, give me a number to work with. It's not,
Yep.
I don't need it in writing, I don't need it, just give me a number that puts us at least in the ballpark. So we could come up with much better things, and then we could meet again with you on how we're going to distribute the actual, looking at the 2022 budget, the 2024 budget, how we're going to keep that going and put it in. So far, we've been collecting a lot. Now, Roland, from the transfer station, they're talking about a new retaining wall, is that what it is?
Yes.
Yeah, a retaining wall.
Where the two containers are, where they have the demolition container and the furniture container, there's a retaining wall that was built. And unfortunately, it was built with like railroad ties. And I know that when I spoke with Bob, trying to determine what, if anything, he was looking at in the future as far as, expense. And he said, well, probably the only thing that, he had, that came to his mind, because he already had the pad, the new pad for where the compactor is.
Right.
He'd already identified that, and he didn't see, that there was anything other than that retaining wall, but that's gonna be something that's gonna require a fair amount of money, I'm sure, because number one, you don't wanna do it with railroad ties again. It should have been done probably with a concrete wall.
How about with cement blocks?
No,
We could move the,
no,
Repurpose.
repurpose.
nah, I don't think that'll work.
Maybe for home, but not commercial.
Okay,
You're talking about a retaining wall that,
Yeah.
because the dumpsters or those cans that are sitting there, on the other side of that is like,
yeah,
so you don't want something to crumble and fall, so,
okay.
but,
So,
There wasn't- there
then we
wasn't-
could put one thing together for that and any other,
Bob didn't identify, because I asked him, about the building, no, the building's in good shape.
and the
Well, what
different
about what
crushers
about the-
inside.
He has 2 compactors inside the recycling building. One he uses for cardboard
Yeah.
and one he uses for plastic.
Right, right.
And, neither one of those are in any need of replacement.
And they would probably fall under that $5,000.
No,
Oh, more expensive than that?
No.
no.
I don't know.
no. Those things are probably $15,000 to $20,000.
Yeah.
Oh, let's talk capital here again.
You're talking about a machine that, will take and compress whatever, and it's hydraulic, electric and hydraulic.
Oh, okay,
And,
okay.
it's,
Stuff steel right now, there's a lot of steel in those things.
yeah.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, those things are not light items.
Yeah.
So, but again, Bob didn't identify, anything in that area that he
Right.
thought, might be necessary.
I mean, I've had a few very rudimentary conversations with the rec department. And, there are things that they could use. And, just something, then we would have that. So we would take it apart, we'd really dissect it. And then we would meet with you and say, okay, this is what we have. We really want you to see it before we present it, to the full board.
Absolutely.
And how we would incorporate it into the budget, and then I guess we'd have to even be talking to warrant and finance, sharing the information.
Right.
With them as well. And I believe in the forms in that booklet that I have, it does come up with a very good way of doing that, so that everybody who needs the information has the information. And now, here's one of the questions I had for you as well. We've gone through this and we're all done. And we are saying that in the year 2024, we need $100,000.
Sorry.
Not a problem.
Just for a second. Yeah, thank you. Sorry, Joyce.
Not a problem. In 2024, we need $100,000 for the XYZ for this department. Doesn't happen. We don't need it. What do? We've got 100,000 sitting there. Do we let it start over, or do we reevaluate and change it, or? I know when I used to do a budget for a large group, what wasn't used went back into the general pot to be redistributed.
Well, I think, if we're putting money into a capital improvement fund, we're looking at, what's gonna be needed over the next 10 years.
Yeah.
Some things are more emergent than others. And we might get to that 10-year mark and we had budgeted for a new fire engine. But you know what? There hasn't been any fire calls and that fire engine is pristine. The chief doesn't believe that they need a new one.
Right.
So you don't put money in for the next couple of years on that, for that vehicle.
Right.
But it would stay in a capital improvement
It
fund.
would. It would not revert to
Right.
a undesignated.
Yeah, we have a capital improvement, townwide capital improvement fund now, which has
Right.
got 30 some odd $1,000 in it. And then we've got a separate one for just the vehicles over there.
Right.
And that, we carry that over every year. It's not a reserve, because if it's put in as a reserve, then it can be spent at the selectmen's discretion.
Right.
Rather than town meeting.
Right.
But it is carried over and appropriated every year.
Okay. All right. That answers a lot of questions. Joe, have you any other questions except
Not right
more
now.
about getting prices?
Well, I think that, I can think of 2, 3 people that they get quotes from on that building. Even if you don't do it, at least you have some sort of an idea in the future, so that when you renovate this, I don't know how, and I've been thinking of how you're gonna change the grade, that little hump that goes just before the parking lot that drops off, how you're gonna negotiate that with,
And I know that Will has been working with Carol's,
yeah.
Yeah.
to get prices, and I believe they were scheduled to come out last month and take a look at it with him.
What were they gonna do? What were they?
Take a look at the whole parking lot and the grade.
Yeah.
And, try to work out some plans.
Yeah, I think it could be done a lot cheaper, using our own town people.
Right, as far as tearing the building itself down.
Well, no, but I'm just regrading and what.
Oh, yeah,
You know,
yeah, that it just
no,
comes
but
down.
what I'm trying to figure out is the difference in the grade that drops off and where that grade ends up toward 109. Do you build a retaining wall? So, but the big thing is if you can embellish in on the parking,
Right,
if by chance they did something and put the offices downstairs so people swung in around and parked, and freeing up this area here, I don't know. It'd have to be thought out.
right.
It's not something that would be decided and do it and then decide 3 months later they shouldn't have done it, so. I mean, there's plenty of room there, but also we got to think of like in 20 years, will this building be able to meet the needs of the town?
At the rate that it's
Well,
growing over
will
the past couple of years.
Will your job be a full-time job?
Oh,
Will you have a town manager, and will you need facilities or like the size of this room for those 2 offices, as well as whatever? And you gonna put this building to this, to the side of put it out the pasture?
Yeah, we're already
tear it
looking
down
at
and build a new
storage
one.
constraints. We have to keep a paper copy of a lot of documents for at least, most of them for at least 7 years, and then some of them permanently. And you can keep a digital copy, but you also have to keep a paper copy. Well, there's only so much paper that fits in that vault downstairs.
No, but I'm just saying, in 10,
Well,
10
look
you
at
would
the
say
other
probably in
paper
10
down there.
years, working in this building, you would say in 10 years, something had to be done.
I would guess that,
Yeah,
yes.
so, would this structure and space accommodate the needs of the town, or is this something that you're gonna have to go to another site, like a lot of towns do, and build a
I think
new-
this space could work.
Yeah,
I think it would have to be, I think
Well,
you're looking
you're
at, a complete,
You're gonna have to
tear
fix-
this down and it's an addition,
yeah. But this is the old town hall, right?
This is the old town meeting house.
Yeah,
Prior to, they never did registrations here. They did them at their homes.
Yeah.
The town clerk worked from his home.
Oh, Rena Andrews, yeah.
Rena and Dennis, yeah. I remember when I was a kid going with
Yeah, I
my
remember
parents.
the dog.
Yeah.
Remember the dog.
But
Well,
this was the meeting house with the wood stove
Yeah.
and the outhouses.
The outhouses, yeah,
Yeah. We used to have Halloween parties here.
Yeah.
Dances.
Yeah.
yeah.
But I think, like you were saying, the space is something, but in 10 years are the bones, you know,
Well, the bones,
Are
I
the
mean, the bones are
bones-
gonna have to expand.
if the bones aren't good enough to help, to hold the expansion,
Well, number one, you're not gonna get anybody to agree
to take down
to
the
take
meeting
this
house.
building down,
Yeah, right,
okay?
yeah,
That
right.
ain't gonna happen.
Right.
So what
Until
you're
it's
actually.
falling, yeah.
Until it's
Until
falling.
it falls in, but, you know.
Yeah,
So actually what you're talking about is we're gonna have to build that way,
Yeah,
okay? Because we own that land on that up to, or close to 109. So there is room for expanding or creating a new town hall.
That's why that grade change would be very important.
right.
Yes, I
You do a
understand
grade
that.
change, so we're gonna
Understand that.
add that 24 inches all the way across and taper it down and increase that building, whatever. And then hypothetically, I think you could just take a plan of maybe taking down this part of the building and putting a brand new, at some point, we're gonna put up a brand new building
Right,
with, you know, handicapped access and fire doors and all those things you're supposed to have. You know, it's just like every town has done that, every small town's done that.
right.
I mean, but where do you go? You might have to go someplace on 109, you know, someplace else. But, and that could probably come within 10 or 15 years, don't you think?
Having to,
Well, do something.
move?
Yeah, either move or to give you people more accommodations.
I mean, I guess that's, right now is a hard time to guesstimate that because
Yeah.
we're seeing a big boom right now because of COVID. What's gonna happen, you know, in another 2 years, we're not quite sure.
Do you have do you have a large increase in the population, or do you have a large increase of new residents changing?
We have I mean, a lot of our summer people have become year-round.
Year-round, okay.
So, I mean, we've always had the large population in the summer, but now they're year-round.
They're year-round, so it's increasing to...
So it's more services that they're utilizing.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Because I noticed the difference in the traffic, too.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Well, you notice a big difference in traffic. But I think the other thing too is the house sales in the building is going up exponentially.
Yeah, I mean, things are on the market for a couple days at the most.
Yeah,
These
yeah.
days, so.
Yeah, exactly. A day or most.
Unfortunately, people have found acting.
They have. I mean, we're close to New Hampshire.
Yeah.
But,
Even,
you know, they're seeing it up north too, you know, up in,
Everywhere.
you know, looking up like the Jackman area, you know, just in that area where we have family, they're seeing the rush up there. People are,
yeah, it is
Well,
happening.
they want the open space. They want outdoors. They don't want to live in a beehive in
right.
the city, you know. Can't blame them.
Make a suggestion,
Yeah,
let's schedule another meeting.
yeah. Well, we have to.
I think we may have exhausted today.
I think we have exhausted today. Let me just look at the rest of this. We've discussed the only other thing I had with this is we haven't met with Jason. We don't know if he has any needs for anything that would be,
Downstairs,
Yeah.
Jason?
you know, necessary for, that would be capital. I almost doubt it from my time down there.
Yeah, I mean, they really reworked the offices down there to
Right.
work for, and it all makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, you know, they put a lot of time into doing that.
Yes, that was a time that Will said he thought it would be good if Jennifer and you guys moved down to those offices, because fewer people come up to see Jason.
Right.
You know, and I don't think it went over too well.
Yeah.
She's
No,
like,
that
"What?"
didn't go over well at all.
What? It's like, you know, we smiled, but even that he would say it, we smiled. But, you know, I mean, as a courtesy, we're talking to every department.
Yeah.
So that would be the courtesy extended to him as well. You know,
In conversation, I mean, he'll usually come in, we'll usually do lunch on Fridays. So he'll come up and we'll have lunch as a group, and, I'll put a bug in his ear, you know,
Yeah.
just see what.
Does he see or feel that he'll need? I mean, I do know some of the things that are down there are, those map holders.
The big files, they all need to be replaced.
Oh, they do? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're broken. I do know that. They
Yeah.
were given to us by the shipyard.
Yeah, that's good. Well, we can't thank
But,
you
and
enough.
those are expensive, because
They are, yeah. But those hanging files?
Yeah.
Those were expensive.
Yes, those are expensive in their own. I can't imagine what the flat files are.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Because
yeah.
there's some type of fire protection to those.
Exactly. But anyway, he's right. We have taken a lot of your time and very grateful. Thank you very much for it. And I think it's been very helpful because now we can start putting things, the information we've collected, we know more information that we can collect. And we'll go forward, and I think the pace is going to pick up. So we shall meet again.
Today is September 1st.
Yeah, today's September 1st.
What's, October, what's the first Wednesday in October?
The 6th.
The 6th, okay.
Is that it? Does that work for everybody?
No. Does not work for me.
Doesn't work for you?
No, I'm going to be taking care of my grandsons.
Well, 4 weeks out is the 29th of this month.
Sorry?
4 weeks out is the 29th of this month.
Is that a Wednesday?
Yep, 29th.
How's the 29th?
Well, yeah, because we got 5 weeks. 29th works.
29th works for me.
September 29th works. 4 weeks.
Same time, same station.
Same time, same station.
Sounds like a plan.
Okay, all in favor, motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
I
All in
second.
favor?
Yes.
Second it.
Thank you. Michelle, thank you.
I have a couple of questions for you.
Michelle,